accountability, period, right? Blame no one, no excuses, take extreme responsibility for everything, because that is how you gain control and freedom. If you want control over every outcome in your life, for the most part, I understand that you could be walking down the street and then boom, a car jumps the curb and hits you. I get that. Freaky, weird shit happens. But by and large, you need to own everything. It's all your fault. The wins are your fault. The losses in your life are your fault. Everything can be traced back to a decision. What that decision was is up to you. But by game planning it out, structuring it out, creating a formula or process, at least you have some framework to follow. But if you're just gonna wing it through life, that's what losers do. Losers wing it through life. Losers think that they still have more time to get there. Losers measure themselves by the losers that they surround themselves with. And they go, well, I still have time. They're not doing anything extravagant in life, my friend. So I'm probably on track. No, you're not. You're all behind track. That's the problem. You're all behind schedule. You're all late to the party. And before you know it, you become undesirable. You become somebody that is now operating in the shadows of life. A decision that you made 2 years ago, you might be paying for that price today. Or a decision that you made 2 years ago might be paying you today, right? So once you own responsibility and go absolute ham on accountability, personal accountability, dude, your life will be so fucking different, it's crazy. You reach a certain age, into your mid-30s, maybe 40s, and you realize I've developed no marketable skills. I have no core structure or values or a predictable schedule that I live by that sets me up to win most of the time. And my entire life I've been living paycheck to paycheck, settling for mediocrity, but scrolling on social media and living through other people's dreams, watching other people have wins, successes, impact and influence others. And motherfucker, I want that for you. I want that for you because winning is formulaic. Most people don't set their standards. They just kind of fall to the standards of the people around them. So if the people around you are okay with being in debt, people around you are okay with being 10, 15, 20, 30 pounds overweight, people around you are okay with having shitty relationships, people around you are okay with having this like negative and depressed and anxiety riddled mindset, you end up accepting those standards. And so I want you guys to understand something. Winning is for the obsessed. You must be obsessed if you want to win. You must be obsessed with the goal, the journey, the outcome, the experience, the rejections, the resilience, the grit, the all of it. And throughout that journey, as you hit these micro wins, fucking celebrate them and then lock back in. If you start setting standards for yourself that I will always be lean and jacked, that I will always focus on having a surplus of money so that I could serve the people around me that I love and care for, that I will always be in a positive mental state because I don't want to be negative Nancy. I want to be a positive influence on people. Set the standards. And if I come across people who don't meet those standards, I will keep myself away from them. I will eliminate them out of my circle of influence and I will edit their relationships so that I am not impacted by their negative juju, right? If you have standards set, then you will not deviate. If you don't have standards set, then you will deviate at the earliest or the lowest common denominator, which is obviously average. And we all know that average is the enemy. Most people will not understand your obsession, your drive, and your determination. Success is a lonely journey. That's just a reality. And most people are not going to understand why you're so driven, why you're so obsessed. And if you try and make them understand, you're going to end up frustrated. Let go and move on. Don't hold on to anger, resentment, and rejection from your youth. You know, maybe you come from a divorced family. Maybe you come from trauma. Maybe you come from weird setbacks. Maybe you're an immigrant like I was. Whatever it is that you were angry about. Maybe you come from a blue-collar family. Maybe you were told that you'll never make it in life by the people that you looked up to. Who gives a shit? Let go of all of it and move on. The sooner you guys can learn to let go and move on in life, the happier you will be. The best advice I can tell you is, go on the journey by yourself. It is the best journey, man. Leveling up, making more money, losing weight, getting fit, becoming the best version of yourself is the fucking most awesomest journey you will ever go on. But it's a journey that you will probably go on by yourself. Most people will not understand the level of obsession required, They will not understand the level of drive and determination that it takes for you to become that person. And when you try and help them understand, you'll find yourself frustrated. When you carry anger, resentment, rejection with you, it is like if I asked you to go do a mud run or a Spartan race, but then said, hey, here's a giant burlap bag with bricks and cinder blocks in it that you have to carry over your shoulder while doing this Spartan race. There's no way you're going to be anywhere near the pack of winners at the end. No way. That is what carrying this anger and resentment and rejection is. So the sooner you can let go and move on in life, the better. Learn to let go and move on. The reason that you haven't fixed your life and that you keep breaking promises to yourself is because you are too comfortable. Number two, you hate yourself. Let's be honest. You obviously hate yourself. If you are making promises and then breaking them, not keeping your promises, breaking your reputation with yourself, breaking promises to others, and therefore your reputation with others is eroding, you not only hate yourself, but you hate the people that love you. Because if you truly loved yourself, you would keep your promises and you would honor them, right? I mean, don't you want to be the best person that you can be? Don't you want to become the best version of a man you can be, the man that you admire, that you love, that you trust, and then give yourself to that woman? Give yourself to that relationship, give yourself to that business, give yourself to that friendship. Of course you do. As much money as you want, you can have as much freedom as you want, you can have as much opportunity as you want, but you got to go out and get it. Because I can tell you right now, every single one of you out there have exactly what you deserve. You might think that life is unfair. You might think that life dealt you a bad hand, but I'm here to tell you life will give you exactly what you tolerate. And if you've been tolerating mediocrity, you've been tolerating average, you've been tolerating this victim mentality that you're carrying, then guess what? You have exactly what you deserve. I know those are harsh words, but I'm going to tell it to you. But if you're giving the worst version of yourself, the lazy self, the self that breaks promises, that lies, that is addicted to vices, you know you want to stop drinking, you want to stop snorting or smoking, you want to stop binge watching, you want to stop being a loser, you want to stop being a crop duster and become a fighter jet in life. You make these promises, but each time you break those promises, you think that it's just a small little promise. What's the big deal? I'll start again on Monday. But what you're doing is you're telling your subconscious mind that you're a goddamn loser. And if you're telling your subconscious mind that you're a goddamn loser, you are literally telling yourself that you hate yourself. If I kept believing this false narrative that I'm an immigrant, I'm always going to be blue collar, that I don't belong here, that I'm unlovable because I was molested, because I was beaten, because I was bullied, because I was told I'll go back to my own country, because I've got learning disabilities, that I'm supposed to be broke, that I'm supposed to be desperate. I hate myself so much that even though I know I need to eat clean, wake up early, get my workouts, do my work, show gratitude, journal, do whatever the fuck you need to do, right? To become a better human, you put that off. That is self-hate at the highest level. And I said, hey, ChatGPT, let's do a little thought experiment. I said, if you were the devil and you wanted to prevent boys from developing masculinity and confidence in life, how would you go about it? And here is what ChatGPT gave me. It said, if I were the devil and I wanted to prevent boys from developing masculinity and confidence, I'd focus on strategies that attack identity, purpose, discipline, positive role models, and here's a list of tactics that I might use. I am out at the first sign of dishonesty and disrespect. Listen, at 49 years old, I've learned something about men, and I think this goes for everyone, but men especially have a hard time dealing with disrespect. And I have decided that if someone's going to be disrespectful towards me and I've done nothing to deserve it, or they're going to be dishonest with me, even if it's a tiny little white lie, I'm out. I'm out. I'm out of that relationship. I'm out of that partnership. I'm out of that friendship. I'm out of that everything. I would demonize traditional masculinity, label strength and assertiveness, risk-taking and leadership as toxic, couple harmful behavior with all masculine traits to confuse and shame boys for acting like men, remove strong male role models, undermine fatherhood, break up families, portray fathers as incompetent and irrelevant in the media in movies and on social media ensure boys rarely see honorable, powerful men in everyday life. I once read a book by Norman Vincent Peale, and he said, for every lie you tell, you have to tell 15 more to cover up that one. And for each of those 15, you have to tell 15 more to cover up that one. So whether it's a little white lie or a big lie, it's all an indicator of a person who's dishonest, who is not going to be truthful. And I don't want any kind of relationship, not a business relationship, not a friendship relationship with anyone who's dishonest and disrespectful. Suppress competition and risk-taking. Make all competition unfair or dangerous. Promote safety, comfort, equality of outcome over challenge, resilience, and earned success. Medicate and pathologize natural boy behavior. Label boyish energy, impulsiveness, curiosity as disorders. Overdiagnose and overmedicate boys who don't conform to passive classroom norms. The story is a story that we tell ourselves, and it's partly true. It's what happened to you as a kid. Maybe you were physically, mentally, sexually abused. Maybe you were laughed at and picked on for, being fat or having a stutter. But whatever story that you end up telling yourself and you carry that into adulthood, what I found through my life experience is that you end up looking for evidence to then reinforce that story throughout the rest of your life of why you're not lovable, why you're not smart, why you can't lose weight, why you should be broke your whole life. Discourage physical development. Make fitness seem vain or aggressive. Remove physical education, discourage sports, and push boys towards sedentary, screen-based activities. Confuse sexual identity and gender roles. Flood their formative years with mixed messages about what it means to be a man. Make masculinity seem unnecessary and even dangerous. And so the moment you can realize that I can take back the pen that I've empowered others with, who have been writing in my book of life, and I could start rewriting my story from this day forward, how it goes, then you start looking for evidence for your new story. I can be lean. I can create financial freedom. I can be loved. I'm not just to be thrown away. I don't have to be in an abusive relationship. Promote emotional dependency and victimhood. Discourage problem solving and emotional self-regulation. Encourage them to always seek external validation or safe spaces instead of building resilience. Disrupt mentorship and brotherhood. Break down spaces where men can form healthy bonds, things like teams, lodges, apprenticeships, even locker rooms. Frame all male spaces as inherently problematic. Self-empowerment is really about taking that pen back and rewriting your story, because I think we could all agree, until you die, you certainly have thousands of pages of blank pages left in your book of life. It's time to start writing your current story and not so much living out the past story that you had. Overload with porn and instant gratification. Hook them on dopamine hits, video games, porn, junk food, endless entertainment so they lose ambition and drive. Undermine purpose and vision. Teach them that there is no higher calling or unique mission for men. Remove any sense of destiny, legacy, or duty to protect, build, or lead.
I have a very interesting subject. I call it 5 simple steps to go from average to fortune. Let me give you this simple little talk. How to go from average to fortune. There's 5 simple steps. You might like to make a note of them. Here's the first one. Get serious. That's number 1. I don't know any substitute for that. You've really got to get serious. You don't have to be grim, but you must be serious. I know a guy that's got a half a dozen jokes keeping him from becoming wealthy. He's not known as rich. He's known as a joker, which I guess is okay if that's the kind of life you want to live. But it really isn't the best way to live. To go from average to fortune, you must get serious. And you must get serious about 2 very important things. Number 1 is setting your goals and where you want to go. Designing the next 5, the next 10 years is so vitally important. What do you want to do economically? Where do you want to go? What do you want to be? What would you like to have? What would you like to share? How much would you like to earn? How far would you like to go? Those are some major questions to ask. And for that all to work out like you want it to for the next 5 or 10 years, in my personal opinion, you've got to get serious. Then you have to get serious about another important subject. And that important subject is called personal development. Personal development is striving hard to become the kind of person that you want to be. And to become the kind of person you want to be, you've got to work at it. 10 years from now, you will surely become someone. The big question is, who? What are you becoming? And if you go to work on it now, sure enough, in a very short period of time, you can take on a new direction to become the kind of person you want to be. There's a very important question to ask, and the question is, 10 years from now, you will surely arrive. And the question is, where? So to answer the question of where you want to arrive and the kind of person you want to be, you've got to get serious. So that's point number one. To make your life worthwhile and unique, to go from average to fortune, you've got to get serious. Now, the second point is, get smart. To make your life work out worthwhile, you've got to have some ideas. You've got to have the information. So you've got to be smart. In fact, in this decade, you must be much smarter than you were in the last decade. You've got to read the books. You've got to come up with the information. When I have a chance to talk to the high school kids, that's the theme of my talk. Get smart. There's nothing worse than being stupid. And if you will read the books, learn from your experiences, do all the things that you possibly can to get the information, sure enough, you'll be wiser this year than you were last year. And I've got a few techniques that I teach in my seminar on how to get smarter, keeping a journal, going to the lectures, going to the seminars, listening to the sermons, picking up ideas from other people. You just must keep up this steady process of learning. Never cease your quest for knowledge. And that's one of the key points to go from average to fortune. Get smart. Now here's number three. You've got to get going. All of the things that you've learned will not do you that much good if you don't put it into an action plan. You've got to get going. In my management and leadership seminar, we teach game plans, how to put all the good things that you've learned into action. Economic action, social action, personal action. How to make the changes and how to actually do the work, how to actually function. Get going, that's the key. Some people are ever learning, but they don't put it into action. They don't really take the action. It's like the man who keeps bringing materials to the building site and never builds anything. He keeps bringing in the sand and the gravel and the windows and the doors and the roofing material, and he just stacks up all these supplies, but he never builds anything. See, if you do that long enough, fairly soon they'll come and take you away. You've got to do something with what you've learned. You've got to take action. You've got to get going. So that's one of the most important things to learn, how to design your days, how to design your weeks, how to design the months so that you take the proper action to get the proper return that you're looking for, whether it's economic or personal. Get going. Now here's number 4. You must get excited. And not just the false enthusiasm of just pure positive thinking. You've got to get excited over some very basic things. One is, get excited over your ability to make yourself do the necessary things. Because discipline is major step 1 toward personal progress. And anytime a person wishes to, they can make major changes in their life, personally and socially and financially. It doesn't ever have to be the same after today. No telling what you could do today if you really wish to. The act of murder is a clear indication that a person in one drastic act can forever change the course of their life. It just happens to be in the negative direction. What I would ask you to do, starting today, is get excited about committing an act that's positive, an act that's constructive, to make the changes in your life that you want made, and to go the direction that you want to go. So that's number 4, get excited. Get excited about your potential. Human capacity is usually never the problem. Little children can learn several languages. We can learn to do the most incredible things. All we need to do is take the time to do it. So it's not a matter of capacity. It's a matter of judgment. It's a matter of excitement. It's a matter of will. And it's a matter of wanting to bad enough. So it's pretty exciting to know that any day you wish, you can change your life. Any day you pick out, you can make major changes. It doesn't ever have to be the same again. And that's exciting. Knowing that intellectually and personally, you can actually do the things that will make major changes in your life. That's number 4. Number 5 is get away. I have found, especially in the last 15, 20 years, that there's an important thing called life balance. You've got to learn to get away. You must learn to get away and be alone. Learn to get away and reflect. Learn to get away and learn how to live as well as how to earn. How sad it would be to learn how to earn well but not learn how to live well. You must balance your life. We teach something, especially in my staff, I teach something called lifestyle. Lifestyle is how you learn to live your life. Some people have money, but they don't even know how to spend it. They have time, but they don't know how to spend it. Some people are successful, but they don't know how to spend their success. They don't know what to do with it. They don't get joy from it. Rather, they get animosity. A father takes $5, crushes it, and throws it at his son and says, if you need it that bad, take it. Now, it's the same $5, but instead of dispensing it with joy, he dispenses it with animosity. That's the difference in not knowing how to live. It's called lifestyle. Then you've got to take time to cultivate good friends. You've got to take time to be with your family. You've got to take time to be with the people who are important to you, designing your life in those respects. Get away. Take the time. Reflect on your life. Recharge your batteries. Do some growing away from your enterprise. Then when you come back to your enterprise, after you have taken this time to balance your life, you will find that on the job, working on your enterprise, things will really go much better. So those are the 5 simple steps to go from average to fortune. Get serious, get smart, get going, get excited, and get away. Let me give you the day that turns your life around, as quickly as I can. I got 4 parts to the day that turns your life around, and then we're finished for the day. Number 1, disgust. Disgust. Disgust is a negative emotion, but it can have a very positive, powerful effect. Disgust says, I've had it. What an important day that could be. I've had it. I met a beautiful, powerful, accomplished executive lady in New York. The company invited me to come in. This lady was the vice president, extraordinary lady. I got to know her and I found out her story. I said, how did you get here? Big income. And she never went to college, never went to university. I said, how did you get here? Executive, powerful, income. She said, well, let me tell you part of the scenario. She said, when I was a young mother a few years ago, she said, one day I asked my husband for $10. And he said, what for? She said, before that day was over, I decided I would never, ever ask again. She said, I started studying opportunity, found it, took the classes, put myself through the schools, did the scenario. Now I'm vice president. I make a lot of money. And she said, I kept my promise. I've never, ever had to ask again. It's called a life-changing day. The day you say, enough is enough. Now, if you can add an act to your disgust, it helps. A man takes a shotgun to his car, blows out every window, destroys every tire, puts 100 rounds in it, and says, I've driven this embarrassing thing for the last time. And then he saves it. He saves it. And later when somebody says, how did you become rich and powerful? He says, let me show you this car. One day I'd had it up to here, I blew it to smithereens. Enough is enough. Powerful. Here's the last 3. Next is decision. Decision making is a life-changing day. If you went home today and in the next few days cleaned up a list of decisions, it could furnish enough inspiration for the next 5 years, 10 years. What an inspiring day, the day you can bring yourself to decide. And here's the third one, desire, wanting to bad enough. Who knows the mystery of that? We don't know. But here's something I do know. Sometimes desire waits for a trigger, waits for something to happen. Who knows what the happening may be? A song, the lyrics, a movie, the dialogue, a seminar, a sermon, a book, an experience, confrontation with an enemy, a conversation with a friend who finally levels with you. Whatever the experience it is, it's so valuable. And here's my best advice. Welcome all experiences. You never know which one is going to turn everything on. Don't put up the walls. The same wall that keeps out disappointment keeps out happiness. Take down the walls. Go for the experience. Let it teach you. And here's the last one. Resolve. Resolve says I will. Two of the most powerful words in the language. Benjamin Disraeli said, nothing can resist a human will that will stake its existence on its purpose. Shortly put, I'll do it or die. Best definition of resolve I got from a little junior high girl, Foster City, California. I'm going through some words one day. I got to this one and I asked the kids, who can tell me what resolve means? Some didn't know, some tried. Interesting. The last one was the best. Little girl about 3 rows back, she said, I think I know, Mr. Owen. I said, what? She said, I think resolve means promising yourself you will never give up. I said, that's the best I've ever heard. She's probably giving seminars somewhere today, right? I mean, that's the best I've heard. I asked the kids, how long should a baby try to learn how to walk? How long would you give your average baby? Before you say, hey, enough's enough. No. Any mother in the world would say, you're crazy. My baby is going to keep trying what? Until. What a magic word. I want you to write it down. Until. Promise yourself you'll read the books until your skills change. You'll go to seminars until you get a handle on it. You'll listen to it until it makes sense. You'll go for it until you understand it. You'll practice it until you develop the skill. Never give up until, however long that is. Step by step, piece by piece, book by book, word by word, apple by apple. Walk around the block, walk around the block. Go for it. Don't miss the chance to grow. And resolve that you'll pay the price until you learn, change, grow, become. Then you'll discover some of life's best treasures when you pay that price. I want you to ponder these 4 questions. Here's the first one, and that's why. Why pay the price? Why work this hard? Why go this far? Why try to learn this much? Why develop yourself to the full? Why try to become all that you can possibly become? That's a good question, why? And you're the only one personally that can answer that question for yourself. You've got to have your own list of whys. Here's what I want you to do when you go home after you've left this extravaganza. Work on your list of whys. One of the big thrusts for success is to come up with a strong enough why. In leadership training, here's what we learn. If the why is powerful, the how is easy. Now, here's number 2. The first question to ponder when you go home is why. Here's another good answer to why. It's the second question. Why not? Why not see how much you can earn? Why not see how much you can learn? Why not see how many skills you can develop? Why not see what kind of person you can become? Why not see what kind of influence you can have? Why not see how many people you can rescue from oblivion? I want you to take that personal. Why not? Why not? Now here's number 3. Why not you? I wish I could say that to each of you individually, but it would take a couple of lifetimes to sit down and talk with each of you individually. But I want you to take it personal. And my personal question to you is, why not you? You've got the brains. You can make decisions. You can study the plan. You can change your life. You can grow immensely in the next few years. You can make your dreams come true. You can build a financial wall around your family nothing can get through. You can become healthy. You can become powerful. Why not you? And I'm here to say that I'm ready to pledge my support to make your personal dreams come true. I asked the question, why not you? But I'm not going to ask it and just walk away. I'm going to ask it and walk with you. And now here's my last question. My very last question on the questions to ponder is, why not now? There never was a better time. Take this dream and not let it die. Take this dream and give it life. Take this dream and breathe into it your own personal spirit until finally it becomes a flame that burns around the whole world. Let's go do it now.